Hello, everybody, and welcome to a very special Fight and Focus right here on FITE. I'm Josh Shernoff, and we are here to talk all things NWA Empower, which, of course, comes to you 8 o'clock Eastern Time this Saturday night on FITE. I am joined now by two people who do not need an introduction, but I'm going to give them to you anyway. We have first SoCal Val, one of the first people I ever worked with on FITE. SoCal Val. Val, thanks for being here.
Thank you so much. First of all, I mean, you're really showing us up with that FITE TV tie. One does love a bit of branding, Josh. Bravo.
Thank you. I'm just kissing up to the bosses, you know?
Yeah.
And of course, also joining us, I mentioned no introduction needed. If you are a wrestling fan, you know who this is. For my money, one of the best wrestlers, period. But we're talking about female wrestlers, so we can also say one of the best female wrestlers. Lisa Marie Varan, thank you so much for being here.
Well, thank you, and it's so great to finally meet you. Val raved about you and how sweet you were and how professional.
Checks in the mail.
And yes, and I am jealous of the tie.
Yeah.
I am.
Thank you. Well, I'm jealous of both of your star power, so.
We'd rather have the tie, quite frankly.
Okay. We'll arrange a trade. So we're here to talk about Empower, but I also want to talk about GAW TV, which stands for Grown Ass Women. That is the TV podcast that the two of you have with Mickie James, and now it's all tying together here. Mickie James, who is the executive producer of NWA Empower, the first ever women's pay-per-view for the NWA, which again is taking place this Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time right here on FITE. Lisa, we'll start with you. How are you feeling? There has to be some pride in here to have such a close friend really helping to revolutionize the NWA.
First of all, I'm very proud of her, and she's, Mickie James is such a hard worker. She's a hustler. My God, she's a super mom. She has a child to raise and a great wife, So for her to give like the opportunity to all these new faces is unbelievable. To get even noticed like at the big platform is very difficult. People are asked, how do I get seen by the other companies? I don't have a miracle answer for that. There's it's a hit or miss. I got very lucky, silver platter, as I was in the right place at the right time. Seriously, it's like because I met China and she said, you have a good look for wrestling. I sent my stuff in and I got a call back. That was very lucky with no wrestling experience. So people hate me for that. But
hey, the luck may have gotten you there, but the talent's what kept you there. So
well said.
Thank you.
Your check's in the mail too, Josh.
yeah, exactly. I'll pay you later. Exactly. But for her to and also she's bringing back legends, like Melina Perez, who we love. And we're so excited. Everybody's gonna be represented and it's all different styles. So for her to give the opportunity to these young girls, it's, she's freaking like the mom, and she's the boss now, which is pretty amazing because she understands the female wrestling. So it's nice to have a female wrestler in charge too,
Yeah, so absolutely. Val, how early did you know that something like this was in the works? Did you get an idea from Mickie that this was something that she had been itching to do?
I did.
Obviously, I mean, everybody knows, I want to say everybody knows about, when she was released from the other place she was working and some of the, issues that went on there. And just to see, for me, just as a fan watching it, to be able to see where she went from that moment and how she just hit the ground running. And now look at this, not very much long after, she's the executive producer of the first ever women's pay-per-view. So yeah, is this something, I'm sorry I cut you off there, but is this something that you kind of saw coming?
I did. And, there's a couple different types of women that you meet in wrestling. There's a lot of women wrestlers that will just come up to work and they're there, they collect the paycheck and, they do their job and then they mosey on. Our girl, Mickie, like Lisa said, proud is an understatement. She has been trying to formulate a way to make real, drastic, serious change and progression in women's wrestling for all of the women in wrestling. You know, like Lisa said, the legends, you know, representing them, girls that are up and coming, girls you may not have ever heard of before, which is why it's such a great mix for Empower. But she's had these ideas, and it was so great to see. I'm talking like at least a year ago, she's mentioning and putting these little seeds in about what she wants to accomplish. And actually, I will say that I think GAW TV was a bit of a part of that, because we wanted to do something for female empowerment and to highlight women in wrestling. And that was one of the biggest reasons we all started Grown Ass Women TV. So not to take credit for Empower at all, but it was like, that just shows you how Mickey is and how her mind works. She thought, let's do a show where we really, you know, look after the girls. And that's her mindset. Gail Kim is very similar in that way, who I'm really excited to see on Empower as well. But these are the types of hearts and souls that these women have to go, okay, I've been there, I've done it, but what's next? What's next for the next generation of women's wrestlers? And that's what I think is so humble and so inspiring about Mickey and about Empower, is that it's not just, hey, let's all have a moment to shine. It's like Lisa said, let's get a nice mix of old and new and, you know, up and coming and established. And it's just going to be such a great thing to watch. And as Lisa and I, you know, are co-hosts with Mickey on Grown Ass Women TV, seen every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern on YouTube. Little cheap plug there. Thank you, Josh.
And what YouTube channel is that?
It is GAW TV show. So all you have to do is just search GAW TV, and we have a podcast version as well, a Patreon. But thank you for letting me plug that. But the point is, we've been promoting this Empower show all month long on GAW TV. We've had Camille on the show. We've had Chelsea Green, one of our favorites. We've had the fantastic tag team of Renee Michelle and Sahar Seven and David LaGreca to help us run down the card from Busted Open Radio. So we have really done all we can from our standpoint. Lisa being in California, me being all the way in England. So we've done all we can to help promote it, but now it's finally here, and we're going to see it on Saturday night. I can't believe it's here. It's like a dream. I'm so excited.
And Saturday night, again, 8 p.m. Eastern on FITE. But it's coming to us from St. Louis from The Chase. And, you know, old school wrestling fans, even if it was from before your time, they know about wrestling at The Chase. And how cool is it not only to have NWA 73, the anniversary show, you know, and wrestling returning to The Chase after so long, but to have that first ever women's pay-per-view there in a place that really wasn't necessarily known for celebrating women's wrestling. I mean, women's wrestling was not really, there wasn't a women's match main eventing at The Chase, to my knowledge. So how cool is it to not only be main eventing, but top to bottom, the entire card is a women's card.
It shows you how far we've come. I mean, Lisa, you know, we talk about this all the time on GAW, that like, it's been a tough road for women in wrestling. And, you know, we don't want to focus on the negative. We're trying to, you know, be woke and talk about the progression of women's wrestling. Sure. But it hasn't always been easy peasy. And Lisa knows that.
Yeah. We've come a milestone, honestly. And to have the whole card females and just the collection of women they have. They weren't, you know, it's not just a company that focused on the young. Yeah. You know, we have the veterans too, you know. Val always yells at me because I say old timers, but
no, don't do that.
I'm not allowed to say that anymore. So it's so great, like especially at a building that it's not known for that, and it's making strides. I think the future for female wrestlers are it's growing and growing and growing, and you hear from a lot of fans. You know, we do a lot of Comic Cons and WrestleCons, WrestleCades and stuff like that, and people are like their favorite part of the show is the women's match. You know, and so now they get the full freaking honcho on, you know, from top to bottom. There's some talented girls. We have our favorites too. Val and I have our favorites.
We do. We can't sit here and be totally unbiased, Josh. So we're going to warn you now. We've had, again, having them on GAW, we've gotten to know some of the ones that are going to be there on Saturday, and we're like, oh my God, we're rooting for specific ones. So look out.
Welcome to Fight and Focus, completely biased news.
Completely.
So
you want neutrality, you go somewhere else, all right?
You know, I think it's interesting that there's, you know, you mentioned women's wrestling, the women's match being their favorite part of the show. And I've always looked at it and thought, the women's wrestling has almost always been treated as like, well, you have the cruiserweight match, and that's men, and then you have the heavyweight match, and that's men, and then you've got, you know, the street fight or the, whatever's going on. And that's men. And then there's the women's match, and that's women. So not only is it refreshing to see an entire card that's all women, but do you think that this is something that could lead towards more, whether it's with the NWA or, and other places do have a heavy focus on women, but the idea that an all women show is the goal, maybe that's no longer special, that's just normal to have a complete television product that is just, it's all women wrestling on here.
Yeah, I hope it's the new normal. That's what I hope. I hope we've gotten to that place where it's the new normal. It's not this sideshow. It's not a commodity. Mm-hmm. It's the show. And every single one of these girls that you're going to see could carry the show on their backs, and they're going to prove that. And I'll tell you, ladies and gentlemen, mainly the gentlemen, they better watch out, because the girls, for the past few years, many of them have been outshining some of those men. And now with Empower, and listen, it's not a huge competition. It's just the fact that they're not only claiming their spot, many times they're overdoing it, and they're actually showing up the men, which I say, go ladies, girl power.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it was, it was a shame, like when we would have like just one match of a female match, and we were just like, or on a dark match, and then on the show, that kind of thing. So we were like, why don't we have like tag teams and all that kind of stuff? And so now, like, tag teams are a thing. I think TNA was the first ones to do tag teams. With myself and Brooke Tessmacher, getting the tag team champions. Chips, like, and then toot my own horn, baby. Toot.
Do it, but girl.
It's changing. It's changing. I think you're right, Val. I think it's the new norm. I think people are going to go, I'd rather watch this show. I'm not burying the males, we are all predominantly trained by men, and we appreciate their style and the array of all the different types of wrestlers. But we're now our show has different styles, and we might see cruiserweight, hardcore division. You know what I mean? So
I think that's the thing that stands out to me, because that's the difference. Before you said about, I think you referenced as like a sideshow or just a specific act of women's wrestling. But men's wrestling had all these different, that was the point I was trying to make earlier. Men's wrestling, you always looked at it with all these different facets to it. Well, this is the hardcore one. This is the cruiserweight. This is that. And now you're finally getting to see, like, hey, women's wrestling isn't that one little thing. No. Women's wrestling can have cruiserweight, can have,
Yeah, and Josh, where wrestling came, if you guys haven't seen the movie Lipstick and Dynamite, Maya Moolah's movie, we were circus freaks. Mm-hmm. You can only see us at circus alongside with the guy that wrestles the alligator. Sure. And so, like, from where we came from, like, going, we're not freaks. We are strong, powerful women that can carry our own, and we can lead. We're leaders as well. We're not that circus freak anymore. We've come a long way.
Oh, without question. And let's talk about the card now, because, you mentioned some things, the tag team wrestling, that's an aspect of the card. But I think we have, I'm looking at it right now. We have, because there's too much action for me to even memorize what the card is. We've got winner to face the NWA Women's Champion at NWA 73. And this is kind of a who's who. And then also we have like a Chelsea Green, Kira Hogan. But then we also have people like Tootie Lynn, who's the local hometown girl there. That's exciting. What do you think we can see out of this? Now, is this going to be a battle royal?
I'm not sure. I know that Lisa and I have talked about the fact that, we're Thunder Kitty fans, quite personally. I worked with her in Shine Wrestling. We're excited to see, again, the amalgamation of the different styles, the different ages and things like that. But our girl, Chelsea Green, Chelsea Green is someone that's on everyone's lips. She's absolutely, she's so popular. Everyone loves her. Everyone's talking about her. She's been everywhere at this point. She's a very, seasoned performer. And I feel like this match is going to be fun because it's just going to be a clash of different styles. But I'm interested to see kind of the rules. Is it Royal Rumble kind of style, or is it a battle? I don't know.
Yeah. It could be a beat the clock.
Feeling it's like every 2 minutes is someone's coming in. That's what I'm believing that. Yeah. I love that too. In 2 minutes, you guys, only 2 minutes, but 2 minutes is so short. 2 minutes is a long time. especially for the girls that are in there. Believe me, from the Royal Rumble, I'm like, how long am I in the ring for?
I'm still here.
Oh my God, I got to get out. I'm tired. But yeah, now says there's going to be a lot of like new, like different clashes of styles. Like we're big Thunder Kitty fans, and about Chelsea Green too. What kills me, she kills you with kindness. She's super humble, a nice girl, a very girl next door, and her personality is so infectious. So I'm a big fan of hers. But you know, Thunder Kitty's she's an old. I seen her perform at old timey wrestling. I don't think it exists anymore. And I think I seen her at Chikara Pro, and she's like very 1950s pinup kind of girl, and that kind of style of wrestling, and it's so freaking entertaining. Yeah. Oh, if you have not seen her wrestle, you got to YouTube her. She's amazing.
You heard it here first.
And it's a great opportunity with all the talent that's going to be in there. You know, we have like a
local hero. Everybody wants to see the local hero.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Until the end. You know what I mean?
Local hero getting an opportunity to be seen worldwide, which is all what you were talking about before about the exposure that Empower is going to be giving to people. There's Debbie Malenko is on there, which I didn't even know that she was still wrestling. I remember that she had been injured once upon a time, and then, you know, I did. So this is exciting to be able to have all these different clashes.
15 years or 20 years, like how many years has it been since she's wrestled? Mickey did mention that.
It's been
a long time.
I don't know exactly, but I do remember. It's been a while. It's been a long time. Maybe she's wrestled more recently that, you know, I'm not aware of, but
I'm kind of rooting for her too, because I'm 50 years old and she is also 50 years old. So she'd be representing us veterans. And, you know, I'm hoping she does well. Jimmy Wang Yang. I always say it backwards. His daughter is wrestling.
Yes.
Now that made us feel really, really old. His daughter, we've got Santino's daughter.
Santino's daughter will be in there as well.
Corelli, and there are some that I will say, Mickey has her eye on specific ones, and she does mention Tootie a lot. She mentions Debbie Malenko a lot. And we keep trying to get, you know, like, she can't show favoritism, but we're like, you know, who do you have your eye on? But yeah, it's been interesting to hear from the backstage kind of side of it. But Tootie is someone that I know Mickey is really, really fond of. I'm excited to see her wrestle. And of course, but I have to say, if I had to pick one person, if we're doing any sort of predictions, for me, Chelsea Green is the total package, top to bottom, just amazing. The next big thing. She already is a big thing, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, let's do predictions. Lisa, who do you have in this?
I also think Chelsea Green is probably going to take it, because she's a well-rounded. She's wrestled in Japan. She's just wrestled all around the world, and super great with fans. You know, at meet and greets, and a good speaker on the mic. And I do like the crazy characters. I'm biased. Crazy loves crazy.
No way. Crazy loves crazy. She says.
Yeah, and I got to wrestle her at an indie show, and she was so nice. I think, like, us veterans, like, we always think, I was telling Val, I go, I hope they know, like, when I went to Rumble, I hope they remember who I am. You know, I haven't wrestled in a long time, and we're just in such a bubble. And she was so gracious to be in the ring with me, and made me cry, you know, because I'm just like, wow, that's so nice. Like, I love her. Yeah, and
respectful. I'm telling you, total package, Chelsea Green. That she has our vote.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah. Not too cocky, you know, not cocky at all, you know, so yeah.
Not cocky, confident, which is important, but you don't need to be cocky. There's so much talent just right there. And the winner of that, who both of you believe will be Chelsea Green, the winner of that goes on the next night at NWA 73, that big anniversary show. They go on to face the NWA Women's Champion, which brings us to this match. Who's the Women's Champion going to be? Because we have Camille versus Layla Hirsch. Some predictions, some thoughts on this match?
You want to take it, Lisa?
You go first.
Okay.
You go first.
I have a very clear-cut favorite here. While Layla has garnered a lot of attention on social media, I have to go with Camille. You know, you talk about confidence. When she was on GAW TV, and I've actually met her before in person as well, great energy. She when I met her in person, I remember thinking, wow, she's going to be a star. And now to see her evolve into the champion that she is, and that sort of silent confidence that you can't teach, I'm really, really rooting for her. I think she makes a great champion. So I'm going with Camille, sticking with Camille.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You
And
agree?
I'm a big fan of Layla. I did an indie show with her, and a signing, I believe. And comes from MMA background, and I think she's young and hungry. She's really young, you guys, really
Is she
young.
really?
And when I met her,
Yeah.
she was really, really green when I first met her, and she was like, "Oh, you're retiring? I wanted to have a match with you." And I'm like,
Oh.
"Yeah, yeah." Isn't that sweet? I know, but Camille, like, she's seasoned, very seasoned, even though she hasn't been in the business very long, but she has learned so much in such a short period of time, and she worked
Hmm.
her butt off. And coming from fitness background like myself, competitions and stuff like that, she is stunning. I don't know if you guys follow her, but every post, she is a beautiful woman.
Yeah.
And her confidence, I wish I had the confidence back in my day that she has confidence now. You know what I mean?
That's what you
Because
need as a champion, and I think that intimidates her opponents, and I think she knows that. I think she uses that to her advantage for sure.
yeah,
Well,
you're
it's
right. You're right, Val.
definitely a match that everybody is looking forward to. But man, I'm going down the line here. I didn't know
Yeah,
where to start, where
to
to end. I
start.
mean, I kind of started with the
I
world
know.
championship here, but it's stacked. And one of the matches that we definitely have to talk about is the tag team championship, the crowning of the tag team champions. So we don't know who it's going to be yet. We don't really know what that match is going to be yet, but we do know that for the first time in 37 years, they're going to be NWA Women's Tag Team Champions. And that's pretty exciting in and of itself. But we're talking about in this, and forgive me for looking down and reading here, but Miranda Gordy and Jazzy Yang, who we talked about, Jazzy Yang earlier.
Yes.
And we have, so we have the Free Babes, right? And Hollywood, Haley J, the Free Babes versus Red Velvet and Kylan King. There we go. That was tough for me to read for some reason. Kylan King. So, I mean, right off the bat, you're talking about Miranda Gordy, Jazzy Yang, like this. I remember talking about, we talked about Jimmy Wang Yang and his daughter. So I met her when she was just about to start training. I saw him, I want to say it was the first StarCast. And he introduced me to her because I've known him for a number of years. And he introduced me to her. And already I couldn't believe how old she was at that point in time. And he's like, yeah, she's going to start training. And she was starting to train pretty young. But now to see this opportunity here, it's in such a short amount of time, only a few years. It's pretty incredible.
It is. And I think there's something to be said for second and third generation wrestlers. And, I've known a few second generation wrestlers, as third as well. And sometimes they think, oh, well, they get in the business, there's nepotism. From what I've understood, and I'm going to use Randy Orton as an example, what I've understood from these wrestlers is that male and female is that actually they have to work twice as hard because they have that name behind them, and it makes them even more determined to find success on their own merit, not on their daddy's name, not on their family name. So, I too was shocked to know that Jimmy Wang's daughter was a wrestler, and I think that's so exciting. So I have to vote for them personally, but I feel like in a weird way, and it's funny because I was never like totally in love with tag team wrestling. I liked it, but for some reason, I guess it's the historic aspect to it, like you so poignantly put, Josh. 37 years. These are going to be brand, returning tag team champions. The championship is back. And for me, it's just going to be, there's got to be emotions running really high. There's got to be a lot of pressure. But the tag team division for me in Empower is probably going to be what I'm looking at the most, that I'm most excited about, and that I'm going to be looking the closest at. Because we're excited for that. We're excited for the next match I know you're going to talk about, but let's get Lisa's opinion before we tell you
Well,
our absolute favorites.
yes. And as Val was saying, like being a second generation, and like I'm going to use Charlotte Flair as an example. That's a lot of pressure. You
Yeah.
go in, you're like, you better be, you have that last name, you better be that good. You know what I mean? And
Right.
that's just a lot of pressure. And even though, you know, she has proved herself. She works really hard. She doesn't go out like how Ric Flair goes out. I remember at the Rumble, I go, "Hey, we're gonna go have drinks at the bar." She goes, "Oh, I don't, Lisa, I don't go out." And I'm like, "Rick, what did you teach her?" She goes, "I tried, Lisa.
Whose kid are you?
Yeah, I go, Are you sure this is your daughter? But she takes it super serious. She trains like a mad woman, and I'm so proud of her. She did back it up. You know what I mean? So I'm excited to see how these generations, if they actually have the same style as their parents, or that's exciting because I've never seen Jimmy Wang Yang's his daughter wrestle, and I saw her grow up because he would show me pictures as we were traveling together back in the day, and I'm like, I feel like I know her. So it's gonna be so interesting. I'm excited to see that. I really am. But I know the nerves that they're having. I'm already nervous. I'm one of those people that puke, have bad belly before I go out, and I can't imagine having that much pressure, having the last name, and proving yourself. You know what I mean? Oh,
there's so much pressure because there's so much opportunity for everybody on this show. And not only do you want to excel, but you also don't want to be the one where people walk away and go, that was kind of the weak link in this whole thing. But you know what? But these are professional athletes. As young as some of them might be, I feel like to even reach this point, you're somebody who thrives on that pressure. And and I'm excited to see what's going to come out of that. We do have another match though, to see who the winner of the previous one we just discussed will face, and that's Allison Kay and Marty Bell, the Hex, versus two people that I know you guys are fond of, Renee Michelle and Sahara 7, Hell on Heels. So I think I know who you're picking for this. But talk to us a little
Birdie
bit
might
about
have
them.
told you, huh, Josh?
Yep.
Yeah, we love them. Well, I mean, first of all, I will say Marty Bell and Allison Kay I've worked with in Shine Wrestling. Absolutely stellar, both of them separately and together. They're really a force to be reckoned with. But we got to know Renee Michelle and Sahara 7 on our show, and we just went, wow, we really believe, I think Lisa will back me up, we believe they're the next big thing. We really, truly love them as people. Of course, we went back and looked at a lot of their matches separately and together. And it's just really interesting to see that they have this opportunity. I don't know what's going to happen, but I have to play favorites here, and we're really rooting for those girls. We love them. Hell on Heels. What a name also. What a tag
Right?
name.
We even said that. We're like, who thought up with that name? That's amazing name, And we actually, when we had them on the show, we fell in love with them. We felt like we knew them for years, even though I have met them before. We ended up Zooming right after our show. We talked to them for like an hour and a half because we were just drinking wine and then just girl talk. And I was like, I love these girls. So we were a little bit biased because, they were on our show and they were just lovely ladies. I love Marty and I love the other tag team too because they're very lovely people. But we got to know Renee and Sahara.
Yeah. And just to see how hard they worked and how they came up, they told us their entire stories of training and things that things that have happened to them in the locker room and just really having to tough it out and work really, really hard. I think that's another reason why we're rooting for them is we know how hard they've worked to get here, and we know how much it means to them to be a part of this. They are so honored to be a part of this, and that really touched my heart. That it's because they know how big of an opportunity this is. They know the magnitude of being on a historic pay-per-view like Empower. So I love that they're appreciative of that and they're humble, but they're hungry.
Yes,
Very
absolutely.
well said there.
They also told us about obstacles they had to overcome, and the racists and stuff like that. And so they feel like they're representing too. And we're just so proud of those girls. Honestly, they live together. So, they eat, breathe, sleep wrestling.
Yeah. Their chemistry is awesome. Yeah.
Yes.
So to backtrack to the previous match, though, we have Miranda Gordy, Jazzy Yang, and Hollywood Haley J, the Free Babes, obviously paying homage to the Freebirds. We don't know who's going to be actually competing in this match because there's three of them. So we don't, going by the Freebird rule, we don't, unless I'm misspeaking here. I don't know at least which
I'm not sure
two
either.
of the three. Now you guys have them winning. in your mind. The question becomes, can they switch it out? Let's say one of them is feeling a little worse for wear after that match, and they're now headed into the finals. Can they switch that person out for the fresh one?
That is a scandalo. Josh, you're in the pot. Does your arm hurt?
We should be
That
lighter.
would be hilarious.
Yeah.
Hey, this is my resume right here.
Yeah.
This is my reel.
That's
that
a fun element to think of about, though. I mean, that's interesting.
It is interesting, and it also, if that is possible, if they are able to do that, that could give them the advantage in my next question, which was, if the finals shake out the way that you are both predicting, who do you have walking away the NWA Women's Tag Team Champions? Is it the Free Babes or is it Hell on Heels?
Hell on Heels for me. I don't know about you, Lisa.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Hell on Heels. I love those girls so much.
So Hell on Heels.
When we say we're rooting for them, like if I was actually at the show, I'd be making a macaroni sign with glitter. That's what I would be.
Yes. Which Val has done before for Jeff Hardy back in the day.
It would not be my first ever wrestling macaroni glittered sign homemade.
That is tremendous.
Done that before. Proud to say I have.
And I'll be honest with you too about the element of surprise too. I don't like to know the whole entire card, even though we know the card. I'm one of those people that, like, when people are like, hey, I have this idea for a match and it's their match, and I go, I really don't want to know. Can I watch as a fan? Because I like watching as a fan, not being a smart mark like they say. I like to be shocked and surprised and kind of not want to know a lot about the show.
That's kind of the beauty, Lisa, of like us not being as involved as we were, especially you, my goodness, for as many years as you were in it. That's kind of the beauty of it, because I think you get a little jaded being so involved. That's why we're so excited to be able to watch this with FITE TV, because our job is to sit there and throw a pay-per-view party and watch it, and we're going to be messaging everybody and messaging each other going, oh my God, did you see that? I mean, it's been a long time since I've gotten to throw a pay-per-view party that I wasn't working. I'm going to order a pizza, grabbing some cocktails, a wine or five, as you do. It pairs beautifully with pro wrestling, by the way. Nice Chardonnay. But no, we're going to be having a party, and it's the next best thing to being there. And I'm telling you, Lisa and I are going to be marking out, as they say, during this entire pay-per-view, especially the tag team. I'm just saying.
Well, there's no better time than...
And we're in the live chat watching it with other fans.
That's exactly what I was going to say. There's no better time than to announce that and let everybody know that the two of you will be in the live chat on FITE.tv, talking to all of the fans live throughout the entirety of EmPowerrr. So yeah, a glass of wine or five, who knows what's going to be typed at the end of by the end of the night.
Just imagine how many caps letters you're going to be like we're going to be marking out so bad. We're going to be fangirling from England to San Diego, California. Dude, we are so excited, and we want to thank FITE TV and thank you, Josh, because this is the next best thing to being there live. I really tried to be there live. I know Lisa's got a commitment out of town coming up, but the thing is, this is really the next best thing. So for us to virtually be able to watch this with all of the FITE TV fans, what could be better than that? We're very excited, and we're honored to be there virtually.
We're honored to have you there. It's really just another, to put over FITE for a second. It's just another piece of the puzzle here at FITE TV that fans get to not only chat, but they get to chat with the two of you. That's huge. I think back to, when I was a younger man and watching just as a fan. Now I'm very lucky to have the opportunity to be there. I'll be there in St. Louis in person, but I would have killed for the opportunity to have people like yourselves in a chat that I could be talking to while watching the event. That's incredible.
You gotta pop in. Can you do a celebrity cameo and just pop in as a chatter?
I could do a cameo. I don't know anyone would consider it celebrity, but I could try a cameo. I would actually, I don't know if I'll be able to, because I am going to be there live, and I will be holding up a macaroni and glitter poster.
Yes. I'll ship it to you. Yes.
I'll ship it to you. Yeah, overnight it. Yeah.
Please do. Because flying with glitter, and then if it opens up in your bag, is a disaster. So I do appreciate
we know about it. Whew.
So Another match that we have on here on this unbelievably stacked card, which I don't even think I realized how stacked this card was until we were going over it today. Deonna Purrazzo, the Virtuosa, versus Melina Perez. I mean, you talk about your veterans and the up-and-comers. I had the opportunity to talk to Deonna a couple of months ago, and one of the things in the conversation was kind of where she was at, feeling like, you know, I asked her, what else do you have to prove at this point where you are in your career? Because she has been so successful so quickly in her career. And I'm sure to her, it doesn't feel like overnight success, and I'm sure it isn't, but it looks in the scheme of things, especially comparing it to Melina's career, it has been a relatively short time. So you say, what else do you have to prove? Well, that's where the veterans start coming in. You know, that's great. You can be wonderful today, but how about seeing how you pair up against somebody like Melina? What are you looking forward to about that match? Who do you expect to walk out victorious in that match? And any advice for Deonna Purrazzo?
I talk to Melina Perez every morning. We box every morning to motivate each other, and she's been training her butt off for this match, because she's feeling older, a little slower, and she's very nervous, which going against someone half your age or way younger, I'm exaggerating, but much younger. And
so she's not that old, right?
No, she's not
she moisturizes the tan.
You know what I mean. It's nerve-wracking going against people that are much younger. They're quicker in the ring, and
sure.
She's been nervous. She's been training. Of course, I'm rooting for Melina Perez because she's a vet and she's going to represent all of us veterans. But when you said what else do you have to prove, I don't care how long you've been in the business, Josh. You always have something to prove. That's the pressure, and that's what makes wrestlers that are at top of their game so successful, and they still got it because they still feel the pressure and they feel like they have something to prove. They're all like, I hope I'm still good out there. I hope I'm not winded. I hope people really appreciate my style of work. But having that nervousness is a good thing.
Sure.
It helps you out. You know what I mean? It means you care, right? Being nervous means you care.
It's a good thing. I think it's a good thing to be nervous. And to counter what Lisa just said, Melina's somebody who always has something to prove. She's always, really, really determined. I think, of course, I'm Team Melina. Why would I not be? I mean, I was a fan watching Melina. Now I call her a very good friend of mine. And of course, she's a friend of Gosh. She's on the show quite a bit because she's one of our besties. But not only that, I mean, this is Melina that Deonna's in the ring with. Melina. And I have to say that to counter what Lisa said, there's one thing to be always ready and always determined. I think what Deonna's downfall is going to be is that she's overconfident. I think her cockiness, I think her attitude is getting a little inflated from what I've seen in these promos as of late. And I think she's losing sight of who she's in the ring with. This is Melina. This is one of the greatest of all time.
Yes.
Yeah, of all time. And I think if I had any words of advice to Deonna, it's, check yourself before you wreck yourself. And if you don't wreck yourself, Melina's going to do it for you. Because, ladies and gentlemen, she's in the ring with a legend. And I think that overconfidence might bite her in her little adorable rear end, if I can say that on television.
Well, some advice. I think a compliment somewhere in there as well. And
sort of. Just a little bit.
No, I'm looking forward to that match, as I'm looking forward to this next one, which is the last one on the card here for us. Battle of the Brands. This is exciting. We have Kylie Rae representing the NWA. We have, if I'm saying this right, Chica Tormenta. Is that correct?
Tormenta. Mm-hmm.
I am not good with any name past like my own.
They're getting more difficult, Josh. It is not your fault.
Yeah.
I'll sometimes look at these and be like, I think I was saying Diamante wrong, and I'm like, Diamante? I don't know. Don't worry.
Well, I'm glad I'm not alone. But Chica Tormenta is representing AAA, and then Diamante representing AEW. Now, obviously, AEW, we would say, is probably of everyone in that match. AEW, she's representing, I should say, maybe the more accessible, most watched of all of these.
Yeah.
So you're now bringing more fans in from another place that maybe has that bigger exposure, and that's shining a light on the representatives of AAA and NWA. Not to say that AAA and NWA are not watched by quite a number of people, but it's a great opportunity for, let's say, a Chica Tormenta, because apparently I want to keep saying her name. Let's say she were to walk out victorious here. Well, now you know, again, nothing against AAA by any means, obviously well established, but now at least let's say to like the American audience, you have just defeated a representative of AEW and the National Wrestling Alliance. That's huge. That's a huge opportunity. And likewise for the other competitors to be able, for international fans to be able to defeat somebody representing AAA. So who do you have in this match?
Well, okay. What's beautiful? I don't really have. I don't want to. I don't have a pick because they're all amazing girls. But what the beautiful part about this is cross promotion, and it's not burying any company. It's acceptance of, and it's just, it's not like, oh, it's all about AEW, it's all about NWA or AAA. It's about female wrestling and how cross promoting, right? And it's who cares what company you're with? We're here to bring it together and give people a good show and a freaking kick-ass match. And so what the beauty part of it for me, which I'm fangirling out, is the cross promotions and plugging each other's company in, you know?
1000%. Lisa, you took the words right out of my mouth. What I'm focused on is just the brilliance of the marriage of all these different promotions. And like you said, that's the word, isn't it? It's the acceptance of all these promotions and the encouraging of all these promotions to get along. You know, I remember being in indie wrestling back in my day, and even these small companies, I'm talking that were like miles apart. Well, you can't work for, I'm 16 years old, 17. Well, you can't work for that promotion. I'm like, are you kidding? Can you imagine what we would do if we all banded together and supported each other? And that, thanks to our girl, Mickie James, is happening with women's wrestling because she's encouraging everyone to do so, everyone to get along and leave your BS at the door. And just like Lisa said, may the best woman win, regardless of promotion. It comes down to talent, determination, being the total package. I would love to see Chica win. I think that would just be really cool because of AAA. But I don't really have a favorite. Like Lisa said, I'm just really excited for the historic idea that should never have been taken this long for people to grasp, that different promotions can work together and flourish and create something amazing. And that is exactly what we're going to see on Saturday night on Empower. And it's going to be amazing because it's a part of history. And we're living it. We live in this generation to see this. How lucky are we?
We're a part of it. Exactly. And what the future also, too, I forgot to mention is, you know, with the visa work, you know, it's hard to get people from overseas to be a part of this. So imagine the future when this COVID thing, damn Rona, right? As Val says, right, you son of a gun.
Miss Rona striking again. Yeah.
Exactly. But we're gonna see people from all over the place coming in and wanting to be a part of this because of the visa issues. She could have had. Imagine the plethora of women. So it might not just be a once a year thing, you know, because there are so many talented girls all around the world, you know. So I'm excited for the future.
And speaking of the future, we should definitely talk about the pre-show matches as well. There's Paola Mayfield with Taryn and Genocide versus Kenzie Page, as well as Sky Blue versus Christy Janes. I wanted to mention those because just because you're on the pre-show doesn't mean you can't steal the show. So
they might.
This is an exciting night of action. What better name could you have than Empower, right? Like it really is empowering all of this talent and the fans watching. You know, Val, you'd mentioned back when you were just a fan with your macaroni and glitter. But, you know, while you had some really strong women to look at and to inspire you, there was that void of just saying that was, as we talked about earlier, that women were just that piece of the show.
Yeah.
But now this is not just empowering the talent. This is not just empowering women's wrestling as a whole, but it's empowering the fans as well. And I have a 6-year-old daughter myself, and she, loves to see anytime she sees women's wrestling. And for me to be able to say to her, hey, I'm hosting a Fight and Focus pre-show for an all-women's pay-per-view. She thought that was the coolest thing in the world.
It is the coolest thing.
That blew her mind.
That.
So, and my hope is for, when it comes time, when it's her children one day, for it not to blow their mind, because it's just the norm and it's what they've always known.
Exactly. Like you put it so well that we're empowering females. We're empowering the next generation of professional wrestling. But they're going to be, it makes me want to cry. They're going to be little girls watching them. They're little Vals, little Lisas watching, this kind of stuff that little Joshes perhaps that, are watching and going, I can do that. And as you said, this is going to be the new normal. And that's what's most empowering. Yes, I'll use the pun there with 3 R's, mind you. That's what's most empowering, is that we're thanks to Mickey and Billy and everyone at NWA and all these fantastic female wrestlers and the crew and everybody involved, they're helping to take that next step for the next generation and especially the fans watching at home. This is something that will not be, like you said, some commodity or, oh, it's just a one-time thing. This is what wrestling is all about, acceptance and empowering females.
Yeah, very inspirational. These women that are in the show, I hope they do realize what an impact they are going to be making on the young little Vals, little Lisas, little Mickeys and stuff like that. Because, you hear a lot of people going, I want to be a diva or a wrestler when I grow up. And, they're not really inspired, or they don't, or the confidence. But now it's like the norm. Like, I can do that too. They're not going to have very many obstacles. And these girls are going to be so inspiring to all those little girls out there. And it's
I love that.
I'm so proud. It's so, yeah. You made me cry already.
There will be listen. You think we're bad now? On Saturday night, you're going to see caps lock on in the chat room with everybody. So watch out. You're going to see. We'll be doing videos and things, and there might be some tears. There's going to be some proud tears, if even just for Mickey, but probably during the whole thing. We're just so excited, and we're so, again, grateful to FITE TV that we can kind of be involved a bit and experience it right along all of the fans in real time as we're watching. We'll be watching right there with you.
We are very excited to have you
We'll
there.
be marking out too. Marking out.
Now, listen, I could talk to the two of you up until the event. But at this point, FITE has other programming, I guess, that they're going to want to air as well. But I want to thank you both so much for taking the time to talk with me today. This has been incredibly enjoyable for me to be able to talk to you and hear what you have to say about this upcoming event. I am so lucky to be able to be there live watching it. And if you're not there live watching it, then you need to be right here on FITE watching it. And you need to be in that chat room, okay, with Lisa and Val, because that is, you know what, I'm probably going to have my phone out while I'm there live just to check out the chat room. I think I'm going to have to do that. But
please, Val and I will apologize ahead of time. Because, what comes out of our mouths,
there'll be some puns flying, and
it is going to be an experience that you don't want to miss. Again, it is right here on FITE, Saturday, the 28th of August. It comes to you from St. Louis, from the Chase. It's NWA EmPowerrr. I want to thank you, Lisa Marie Varon, and I want to thank you, SoCal Val, so much for being with me here today to talk about NWA EmPowerrr. I'm Josh Shernoff, and we will see you August 28th right here on FITE for NWA EmPowerrr.